Hey guys, welcome back to the next part of our series. Today we're going to start with chapter 2, which is live booleans and a very fun activity. We're going to be doing a Pokeball. Now, before we jump onto the Pokeball exercise, I want to show you how live booleans work. For a long time, live booleans have been a part of the 3D world, and for a long time, they have been considered a very destructive way to model because they create a lot of n-gons and they create shapes that don't work really well with UVs, don't work with really well with subdivision, and that's something that ZBrush is trying to fix now with live booleans. Now, live booleans has been out. This option has been out in ZBrush for a long time now, about 4 years, I think. But it's super cool. So let me show you. The way this works is very easy. We have two types of Boolean operations. So I'm going to add here a cube 3D, and I'm going to move this cube 3D like out. So imagine you want to create a shape that intersects in this specific way because you're doing some sort of like mechanical thing or whatever, and you need this shape to be like this. Well, by activating live booleans here and activating the first option, which is called addition, or yeah, it just combines both shapes. This one right here, you will pretty much add both shapes into a single object. And the way this works is you're gonna go down here into subtool, into the Boolean options, and say make Boolean mesh. And it will take this operation into account, and it will create a new subtool that combines both objects. Now you can see that ZBrush does this by pretty much triangulating all of the border, all of the intersecting border, and making sure both objects are a single shell. Now, as you know, this is not going to work for what we want, but one thing we can do, and this is super handy, is we can now actually jump into, for instance, Dynamesh, activate the polish option, hit Dynamesh, and now we're going to have two very like sharp things that we can work with and utilize all of the hard surface tools that we've learned so far, and more, of course. So this is the basic function of the live booleans. There's two more functions that was like addition. There's subtraction. Well, you will subtract one chain from the other, as you can see right here. And then there's also intersection. Well, you will get whatever is being intersected there. Now, there's a couple of things that we need to understand about live booleans, and that's the fact that whatever shape is on the topmost subtool in your tool palette, it's going to be the one that's going to be like, it's the basis in which we're going to be doing the mathematical operation. So if I were to append, let's say, another cube, in this cube we say divide again, I'm trying to say it in Spanish, which is restar, but no, it's subtract. Subtract is the proper word. You're going to see that we disappear. Why? Because this one is pretty much the same size as the first one. But if we make this smaller and bigger, or smaller like this, let's move this out of the way. Oop, let me go back here. Let me check this out first. Where is the, oh, it's not visible. Silly me. There we go. So let's make this smaller. There we go. And right now, let's just make sure that we have, where's the other cube? Oh, did we move it? Okay, let's move this back. And there we go. So I was selecting the wrong one. So yeah, let's say we have something like this, right? We're subtracting this second cube from this first cube, and then we can go to the third cube, and we can actually subtract more. Like we can say, hey, I want to subtract as well. And look at this, like try doing this shape inside of Maya, Blender, or any sort of like software this easily, and it's not gonna be an easy feat. Like keeping this sort of like structure, keeping this topology clean, and using this for whatever you want in your construction, it's definitely complicated. Now, squares are not super complicated, right? But let's say we added like a cylinder, and there's gonna be like a bolt going through the whole thing. Well, we can definitely do that. It's just a matter of selecting this guy, making it super big, and going into division. And look at that beautiful shape. This is a great shape, and as I mentioned in the first couple of videos, you can use this for a lot of things. You can use it for games, film, and even 3D printing. So if you're trying to come up with a specific like machine part that needs a lot of divisions, then this is something that you might find yourself doing quite a bit. Now, you might notice though that this cylinder is actually creating this sort of like faceted look here. If we want it to be this super smooth, you can actually divide the cylinder. I'm pressing Control D and Control D again to divide the cylinder and get a super smooth transition here. And all of this is happening in real time. So this is one of the cool things about the tool. We can also press, for instance, Control Alt and drag, or sorry, Alt and drag. No, we actually need to, let's go geometry, delete lower, and I'm gonna Alt and drag to duplicate the cylinder. Have I done it or not? There we go, Control Alt, and we can duplicate the cylinder in the same subtool. So now we have two little cylinders, and we can add like a second one, let's say, right about here. So there's a lot of things that we're gonna be able to do with live booleans. They're super super cool. Let's for instance, let's do another one. So let's go W, Control Alt, drag again, and let's like make this a little bit bigger. And then let's make this smaller and push it to the side. There we go. I want to create like this sort of like stepped effect over there. See that? So live booleans are super super cool. We also have intersection. However, if I were to turn on intersection right now, we'll get like a very very crazy shape because we're getting like the different elements combined into like a super wacky shape. So one of the main things that you need to be careful about when using booleans is you need to make sure that you are doing the operations in the best possible way. Now, once you have a shape that you like this one, you're just gonna click Make Boolean Mesh, and you're gonna get this one over here. And then at this one, we can still keep going and add more Booleans. So if I append, let's say now another cylinder, and we wanna like divide like half of it like this, let's push this up and go into division. There we go. Like we are able to subtract all of that shape as well. So we get like this sort of shape right there. And then let's say we add another cube, and we just hit a cube, grab this cube, move this like forward. Let's make this smaller. Let's go like this. And we're going to say divide. Yeah, minus. Let's turn this on. There we go. So now we are dividing or subtracting, sorry, even more shapes from the original guy. And we go back here and we make a Boolean mesh. And there we go. Now we have this shape that's looking very, very nice. And at any point, I can go into geometry and again, either Dynamesh or Series I'm going to say Dynamesh with polish turn on so that we get a very sharp figure. And this now has proper topology that we're going to be able to use to model and work and create whatever shape we want. However, there's a small problem that I hate about Booleans, and that's the fact that every single time you create a Boolean mesh, you can see that our little tool palette here becomes like super, super crowded, and then it's difficult to find like which specific piece you're looking for. So my first advice is always rename your tools. Whatever is on the top is going to show over here. So if I will go here and I just hit rename, I can call this, let's say, main shape. Now this is going to be my main shape effect. So you can see that now I know that that's the tool that I want to go for. And if you have a shape that you don't want, like this one right here, you can just hit delete all, hit OK. That's going to delete the tool and you're going to be good to go. For instance, this one that we used at first to create like the basic building blocks, we don't need them anymore in this case. So I'm just going to say delete all. Okay, and that's it. Like we start removing all of the subtools that we have here, and that way we're not going to get like extra amounts over here. Like it's going to be a little bit cleaner to have everything here in our tool palette, because again, Boolean meshes are going to be a lot of combining and subtracting shapes from one another, so you're going to get a very dirty tool palette over here, and it's good to keep it organized, especially if you have a small screen. And yeah, that's it, guys. That's it for this first video. In the next one, we're going to start with our little Pokeball exercise, so hang on tight, and I'll see you back on the next one. Bye bye.